All right, let's talk about the unseen engine of our world. We're about to pull back the curtain on the massive hidden systems that deliver basically everything in our lives, from the coffee we drink to the phones we can't live without. I mean, have you ever really thought about it? That thing in your hand, it seems so simple, right? But it's actually the final stop on an absolutely mind-boggling journey that crosses countries, involves dozens of companies, and touches countless lives. Figuring out that journey? Well, that's what we're here to do. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get the basic terms straight. Then, we'll visualize how these systems actually work. We'll get into how they're managed, what value really means today, and then we'll tie it all together with a really powerful case study before we ask the big question, why does any of this even matter? Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, we have to get our language right. There are a couple of key terms, procurement and supply chain, that get thrown around all the time, sometimes interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. A lot of people hear procurement and just think, oh, that's the buying department. But it's so much more strategic than that. It's the whole process of figuring out what a business needs, finding the best sources for it, and then managing how you get it. It covers everything from sourcing to inventory to logistics. Now, the supply chain, that's the whole shebang. It's the entire network. It's every single organization, every person, every activity, and all the information and resources it takes to get something from its most basic raw material stage all the way to you, the end user. It is the product's entire life journey. So here's the absolute key takeaway. Procurement is a critical piece of the puzzle. It's one of the most important things that happens inside the supply chain. But supply chain management is overseeing the entire puzzle. One is a function, the other is the whole infrastructure. All right, so we've got the definitions down, but what does this stuff actually look like? Let's try to visualize it, starting with the simplest version and building from there. At its most basic, you can think of a supply chain as a straight line. It starts with the folks who produce the raw materials. Think farmers, miners, you name it. Then the physical stuff flows downstream, kind of like a river, moving through factories and distributors until it gets to you. But the information and, of course, the money, that all flows upstream, from you all the way back to the source. But let's be real, it's almost never that simple. In reality, we have something called supplier tiers. Here's an easy way to think about it. Imagine a car company. The business that sells them a fully built engine, that's a tier 1 supplier. But what about the company that makes the nuts and bolts for the engine maker? Well, that's a tier 2 supplier. And you can have tier 3, tier 4. It gets complex fast. And this is what the modern supply chain really looks like. It's not a chain at all. It's a web, a huge, sprawling, interconnected network. You have tons of different suppliers feeding into multiple manufacturers who then use multiple distributors. And what that means is that one little snag anywhere in that web can cause massive problems for everyone else. So you look at that crazy, complex web, and you have to wonder, how on earth does anyone manage all of that? Well, that's exactly where the discipline of supply chain management, or SCM, comes into play. SCM isn't about setting up a system and just hoping for the best. No, it's the active, hands-on, day in and day out management of all those moving parts. And the goal is twofold: deliver the most value possible to the customer and build a competitive advantage that can actually last. And here's where it all kind of clicks into place. Supply chain management is the big umbrella, and sitting under it are these crucial functions. Procurement is handling everything coming in, manufacturing is making the product, and sales is getting it out the door. They all have to work together. And we absolutely have to talk about logistics, because if SCM is the brain of the operation, planning the strategy, then logistics is the muscle. It's the real-world physical stuff, the ships, the trucks, the warehouses, the planes. It's the part that actually moves goods from point A to point B. Without logistics, absolutely nothing happens. Okay, so you might think the whole point of managing this giant machine is just one thing: get the cheapest price possible, right? Well, that used to be the main goal, but not anymore. The way we think about value in a supply chain has gotten a lot bigger. Look, of course price still matters, and getting things on time, absolutely crucial. But today, value also includes quality, clear communication, and, this is huge, ethics, environmental impact, and sustainability. More and more companies are realizing that a supply chain that trashes the planet or exploits people isn't just wrong, it's a massive business risk. I mean, this quote from our source material really says it all. This isn't just a nice to have idea, it's a moral and business imperative. When you're managing a global network, you have a massive ethical responsibility. And when that responsibility is ignored, the results can be absolutely devastating. So, to really understand what's at stake here, to see the real human cost when these complex systems fail, we're going to look at a case study. And it's a tough one: the chocolate industry. 2.1 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the estimated number of children who were engaged in child labor in the cocoa-growing regions of West Africa, according to a 2018 report. And that region supplies most of the world's cocoa. This is a perfect storm. It's a textbook example of a supply chain in crisis. You've got that lack of visibility we talked about, right? Those supplier tiers are so deep that major chocolate companies literally can't trace their cocoa back to the specific farm it came from. The root of it all is the extreme poverty of the farmers at the very, very start of the chain. And even though big companies have been making pledges for years, the problem isn't going away. And all of this is happening alongside massive deforestation. It's a disaster. So let's bring it all home. After all of this, why does it matter? It matters because these networks, as we've just seen with the chocolate example, aren't just lines on a business chart. They have real, profound impacts on our world. And that's really the main point. This unseen engine isn't just a boring business topic. It is the hidden architecture of our modern world. The way these systems are built and managed literally shapes economies, defines our impact on the environment, and directly affects the lives of millions of people. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you pick something up to buy it, a chocolate bar, a t-shirt, a new phone, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, what was its journey to get to me? And what is its true cost? Not just the price tag, but its true human and environmental cost. Thinking about that, that's the first step to understanding the world we all have a hand in creating.